They weren't pilots. They weren't scientists. They weren't chasing fame. They were a farming couple who stepped outside one evening and pointed a camera at the sky. What they captured became one of the most analyzed UFO photographs in history, and it remains officially unidentified to this day. On the evening of May 11, 1950, in the rural outskirts of McMinnville, a quiet farm became the setting for what would become one of the most enduring visual records in UFO history. The witnesses were a married couple, Paul Trent and Evelyn Trent, whose credibility would later be scrutinized for decades. According to the Trents' consistent accounts, Paul stepped outside their farmhouse shortly after 7:30 p.m. to tend to routine chores, when he noticed a metallic object in the sky to the west. The object appeared disc-shaped, reflective, and silently moving against a backdrop of scattered clouds. Paul called to Evelyn, who joined him outdoors. Both observed the object for several moments. Its motion was described as slow and steady, with no visible propulsion, exhaust, or sound. Details that would later distinguish the sighting from conventional aircraft explanations. Paul retrieved his Kodak Roamer camera, loaded with black and white film. He took 2 photographs in quick succession as the object crossed the sky. The camera was a standard consumer model with no special lenses or modifications. The photographs captured a distinct disc-like form with a darker underside and lighter upper surface. In the second image, the object appears slightly rotated or tilted, suggesting movement between exposures. A nearby utility pole and power lines provided fixed reference points for scale and perspective. After the brief encounter, the object reportedly accelerated and disappeared from view. The Trents did not immediately seek publicity. The film was developed locally, and the prints were shown informally to friends and acquaintances. News of the photographs eventually reached the Telephone Register, a local McMinnville newspaper. On June 8, 1950, the paper published the images along with the Trents' account, presenting the story without sensational language. The photographs gained national attention when Life magazine reprinted them on June 26, 1950, placing the McMinnville images alongside other prominent UFO reports of the era. This publication brought the case to a global audience during a period of intense public interest in flying saucers. Initial reactions were mixed. Some readers accepted the images as genuine documentation of an unknown aerial phenomenon. Others proposed conventional explanations, including model aircraft, balloons, or photographic manipulation. The U.S. Air Force reviewed the photographs as part of its early UFO studies, including Project Grudge. Investigators found no evidence of fraud, but ultimately classified the case as unidentified, neither confirmed nor debunked. Over the following decades, the photographs were repeatedly re-examined. Analysts measured shadow angles, object reflectivity, and depth cues. The presence of the power lines and farmhouse roofline consistently complicated claims that the object was a small, close-to-camera model. Skeptical hypotheses often focused on the possibility of a suspended object, such as a hubcap or mirror hung from a wire. However, no wire was visible on the negatives, and the Trents maintained they had neither the motive nor the means to stage such a hoax. Importantly, no financial gain followed the publication. The Trents did not tour, sell exclusive rights, or capitalize on the images. They continued their lives quietly, reinforcing the perception among supporters that the sighting was reported in good faith. In the 1980s and 1990s, the original negatives were studied by independent researchers. While image degradation limited definitive conclusions, no conclusive signs of tampering were identified using the techniques available at the time. As digital analysis advanced, the McMinnville photographs remained resistant to simple dismissal. They lacked the clarity needed for definitive identification, yet retained enough contextual detail to avoid easy reduction to known objects. Within the broader timeline of UFO history, The McMinnville case stands out for its timing, occurring only 3 years after the Kenneth Arnold sighting and for the ordinary setting in which it occurred, a rural farm witnessed by private citizens with no institutional affiliation. The photographs endure not because they prove a specific conclusion, but because they persist as unresolved evidence. They occupy a narrow space where explanation has never fully displaced the original observation. Within the UFO and disclosure community, the McMinnville photographs are frequently cited as one of the strongest early civilian photo cases. Their longevity and lack of definitive debunking have made them a benchmark for evaluating later imagery. The photographs helped normalize the idea that extraordinary sightings could occur in ordinary places. They contributed to the post-war shift in public perception, from isolated flying saucer stories to a broader pattern of unexplained aerial encounters. This incident has left an awesome legacy, including the annual McMinnville UFO Festival in McMinnville that has been going on for years. And even after all this time, those original UFO photos are still being kept safe and sound. What's wild is that, after decades of people picking them apart, those photos are still officially labeled as unidentified. These two images have survived all the chatter and theories, still leaving us wondering as we keep talking about what's up in the skies. More than 70 years after two photographs were taken over a quiet farm in Oregon, the McMinnville case remains unresolved. The images have been examined, questioned, and reanalyzed across generations. Yet they have never been conclusively explained or dismissed. No confession emerged. No definitive hoax was proven. What endures are two frames of film, captured by ordinary people, that continue to resist every tidy explanation offered to contain them. In the historical record of unidentified aerial phenomena, cases like this persist not because they provide answers, but because they leave us with credible questions that refuse to fade. For many, the significance of McMinnville lies not only in what was photographed, but in what it suggests that reality may occasionally reveal itself in brief, unrepeatable moments, leaving behind only traces. For you watchers, this is where imagination meets evidence, and where curiosity is allowed to remain open rather than resolved. Thank you for tuning in to They Are Watching Us. Stay curious, stay observant, and as always, keep watching the skies. Hey guys, thanks for tuning in. If you're as into UFOs and all that cool disclosure stuff as I am, do me a solid and hit that subscribe button. Give this video a thumbs up and drop a comment below. It really helps me keep the good content coming your way on this super fascinating topic. Seriously, I appreciate it so much. Catch you later.